episode of Let's Talk Life here on Let's Talk with Chisom. And if this is the first time, Let's Talk with Chisom is all about contemporary issues. We talk about real life experiences, but we look at them
Yes.
from a Christian perspective. And of late, we started the Let's Talk Live where we bring in exceptional guests that have a track record and they share experiences and we learn and glean from them. And today we have another beautiful guest. Her name is Chinaza. Chinaza, we are so happy to have you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so good to have you around. Speaking
Thank
with you the other
you.
day, dry run, it was like, wow, you're so young. How do you have so much experience? Right? So we're just going to take it a bit by bit, and we trust the Lord to help us. I know that you might not be too settled because of where you are right now, but I know that the
Yeah.
Lord is going to help us. Okay, so you'll be able to share as much as you can. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us a bit about Chinaza.
Okay. As we've
Mm.
heard, my name is Emenike Chinaza.
Yeah.
Roots, because a lot of people don't know me by that name.
Oh.
I am a graduate from Department of Public Health, University of Calabar. I am an entrepreneur, also a volunteer. I volunteer for foundations at this point because I
Mm.
just graduated 2024. And I'm working with a lot of foundations for at least to build experience. I am the only girl amongst three boys.
Mm. Serious.
And yeah, that's just basically what you need to know about me. And most importantly, I'm a believer. Yes.
Yeah, very important to a believer. So already you wear many hats, and one of which I don't envy you is the part where you are the only girl of how many boys? How many boys?
Three.
Even if it's just two boys, that's a lot. Okay, so but we're going to get to that. I like the way you did the introduction. You wear a lot of hats, and then you now talked about you being a believer, which is very, very. That's what stands us out, even in the public space, in our workplace, and everything. So that's basically what stands us out. So tell me, have you always been a believer? What was your experience like? Or they gave birth to you and you were born again? What was it like?
Well, I was born into a Christian home. Uh,
Okay.
for
And your parents
many,
passed the born again to you. They passed it to you.
yeah, my parents are born again. My mom was married. It was after she got married, my dad brought her into the at least the Christian experience, and she became
Okay.
born again. For
Okay.
me, I was born into a Christian home. I know for most of us, they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, being born into a Christian home means I'm a believer." But I believe that being a believer for me, and I think that mentality has really helped me a lot.
Mm.
Being a believer, it was when they said, for all those who believe in Christ, it's not just about me hearing, I need to read my Bible too. But do you really have an relationship with God? The
Mm.
person you are talking about, do you really believe? Or is it just
Beyond what we're
because
told,
I
right?
heard, because
Yeah.
I heard, because I heard?
Yeah.
For me, that has been for me what I interpret as believer. Christianity, yes, speaks of me Christ like, but has my experience really been about Christ? Or is it just because my parents dragged me to church? Well, I'm
Because- Yeah, it's very
so
important.
that's why
Yeah.
I said I am a believer because I really have a personal relationship. Because for me, without God, it's like I'm losing my breath, and it's like I'm suffocating. So that has
Yeah.
been my experience. Yeah, basically.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know
Mhm.
because many times we have
Yeah.
children brought up in a Christian home and we just assume that that child is born again. We just assume that that child knows God. We just assume that because the child is going to church, then we assume that that
Yeah,
child is born again. So it's
that's
good,
funny. Yeah.
you they passed it down to you and then you now, made it personal. So, but do you
Basically.
think they are passing it down to you had any influence in, making that kind of like made you make that decision?
Sorry, I didn't get that part. Can you
I
repeat?
said, the parts where you mentioned your parents are Christians, and then more or
Yeah.
less they passed it down to you, and then you took it. Do you think that
Yeah.
making that decision to get born again, do you think it has a lot to do with your parents being born again, or was it a positive influence, or was it a negative one? What was it that inspired you that made you feel like, oh, I could do this as well?
Oh, okay. Thank you for that question. Well, um, my parents, I would say they were practical Christians. You know, me, I believe in if I tell somebody I am this, I should be able to show you by action. He said action speaks louder than words.
Mm,
And growing up, I have parents who they were not just okay, Bible,
pray every day.
do this, let's go to church.
Mm,
It's like they showed me a reason. When they tell you this one is different, they showed me a reason that actually you can be born again and it's a sweet experience.
okay.
Growing up, I tell people one thing. Talking to somebody the other day, I was like, there's something, there's one thing that I'm really grateful. I look up to God to every day, and I'm grateful for. Is I have a father, a dad who who prays. When you say
Mm,
you have a praying father, I
mm,
will wake up at night most time because I usually sleep as a girl. I usually sleep in my parents' room. So most times I was this sensitive kind of child. So I'll wake up in the middle looking for my dad, where is he? Only for me to find out he's praying in the middle of the night. And I
mm,
just most times I'm marveled. At that age I was I am this kind of a child that was observant. I used to be observant of people, things around me, and I easily grab so fast. So that experience, seeing my parents do that, they didn't just tell me, okay, this is this and this is what I need to do. But it's like they showed me, they lived the life. And that was me think. I'm like, if they can actually do this, what I call them are peacemakers. I call my parents peacemakers. When there is problem in the family, they remember, oh, these people they too. There's peacemakers both my father's side and my mom's side. Like when I look at that, I said there's something that they actually see in them that makes people reach out to want to reach
mm.
out. And I'm like, I want to live a kind of life
Okay.
where I can
Mm,
be a solution to problems. And this is one thing Christ did. He was a
mm,
solution to he was they said he brought righteousness, just that sin could be purged out, right? That is a solution to a problem. If I can actually live this life, a lot of at least 100% problems are solved.
okay. So I'm going to cut you short.
So
Yeah.
okay,
So for you, it wasn't because your parents told you, Chinaza, go to church. It
good
wasn't
chair.
really because I'm just playing it in my head. If all children see their parents pray, will make
Mm,
them want to give their life to Christ, then I believe every child from a Christian home should be born again. But that's not the case, right?
mm-hmm,
So from what you're saying, it wasn't just they are taking you to church. It wasn't just their you're seeing your father pray. It was more like you saw them live the life of a Christian,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
you looked at it
yeah,
and you found, oh, okay, this makes sense. And then you thought, okay, you now said
yeah.
doing it right.
For me, that was it. It
Okay, so
was
so
a
so
strengthening factor. Yeah,
Uh, so it's beyond just I'm trying to outline this because for
yeah,
parents and for parents, yes, and basically for
yeah.
parents, yeah. You know that thing where sometimes we want to do certain things and then you just feel like
Yes.
because I'm an adult, I can do what I want. But
Well,
having an understanding that these kids are not just going to do what I ask them to do. They're going to do what they see me do. I
we
think that is
do.
the real check because for you, that was the game changer. It wasn't what your father said, it wasn't what your mom said, it wasn't by them taking you to church, it was by their attitude.
Mm,
And that's what cost you
yeah.
you. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
just wanted just let's just make that clear so that
Right.
anyone listening, as adults, we understand that we have a role to play even in the lives
So
of
yeah.
people. Yeah. So
Truly.
okay, so tell me, let's just go back a bit to your being
Okay.
the only girl in the house.
Probably.
Yes, because I know when we're talking, there was something you told me. I'm just going to, okay, just tell us what was the experience like. Let's start from there.
Eh? Well, being that only girl in the house,
Hmm.
get pampered. That is one thing.
Okay, that's the sweet
You
part.
have like when you walk, you have guards around you, especially when you're not the last born, then you're not
Oh,
the
wow.
only girl. So
Hmm.
it had a lot of then and my dad and I was daddy's girl too. So it was, let's just say, the four men in the family.
Wow.
So I and my brothers are really this kind of protective type over me. So growing up, literally being amongst them made me I had it influenced me in kind of a way. It made me I most of the people around me, most of my friends are now boys. So I
Hmm.
literally
Hmm.
find it very hard being around. Maybe even when you see girls being friends with me, it's just a few, but not of them.
Hmm.
Boys majorly. So at that point, I noticed that I started becoming this boy teenager or this tomboy kind of person. I started getting closer to guys and all that. And my brother me, my mom started noticing, my brother started telling me, young lady, remember you're a girl. Yes, forget the fact that you grew up among boys. But let's
You
begin your
go.
mind, you are a girl.
So
So
apparently
they
at
repeat
some point,
in my mind, eh?
yeah. So apparently at some point you start seeing yourself like a guy.
A guy, yeah, at that point. So, but in the midst of it all, I had a mother who was very, very observant and both
Hmm.
in the spirit and in the physical. My
Oh
mom
yeah.
is somebody you can't tell her you can't deceive her because
Hmm.
God just blessed her with the gift of sight.
Hmm.
So of vision, she would tell you, look at you and tell you, young lady, no, don't do this, don't do that. And you'll be surprised that how did she even come to know about it because nobody told her. So
They ask her
me
parents over
go,
here.
I became scared because at that point I wasn't that close to my mom. It's this kind of she gave us this kind of military kind of training. So
Okay.
me and her were far, far apart. So just me, my dad, and my brothers. My mom is just once in a while. Once my daddy travels, is like, hey, I'm in trouble. So, but
Hmm.
it came to a point where I've that relationship, even though we're not too close, but my mom made clear that she's still my mother and God is using her to help me at that point. Because I sit back and I reflect at that point, I'm really grateful for a lot of things
Hmm.
she taught me, even though most times I saw it as this is military training. And it helped me a lot because I found myself at some point, I started getting myself attracted to my um that is girls and
Hmm.
it felt wrong. It was wrong. So when I see this issue of you stuff, this is not something that just started. This is something that has been amongst us. This is something that even if you look at church today, it's in the church.
So,
Many
so,
are
so,
struggling.
sorry, you're going too fast. I just want to let's get something clear in context. So initially we had established that you started seeing yourself. like a boy because you were surrounded by men, and at some
Boys,
point
yeah.
you started feeling like a boy.
Boy,
So the
yeah.
part where you said you were, close to guys, it wasn't like you were close to guys like you were flirting with them. You were close to
With them.
guys. It felt like you are with your,
Yeah.
your
I'm with
buddies,
my folks.
this is your gender,
They can
right?
relate.
Right. So
Yeah.
for you at that point, you just felt that okay, the way a guy, I should be with the guys because I feel like a guy, I act like a guy. So you felt like a girl trapped in a boy's body, right?
Boys, yeah.
So
It
then
felt
now,
that way.
so you now the step where you now start feeling attracted to the ladies. How were you able to? How did you?
It's like I said, I look and I'm still grateful for my mother.
Hmm.
It's my same when I look back at those times, and each time she approaches me, there's always a counsel, even at the end of the warnings, at the end of the punishment. She leaves a counsel.
Punishment. There was punishment.
Because they'll even just mere words coming out of her mouth is like punishment, because by the time you sit, your mind is just filled with hmm, hmm, because we have throughout, and it's made me understand that, my dear, this Christian life is not, you can't hide anything. As
Hmm.
God sees, as long as our Father is seeing it,
Hmm.
nothing is
Mommy,
hidden.
mommy is going to pick it.
Mommy is going to pick. So at a point, it's as if the Lord said, pointing out to her, and she started working on it. Even my dressing, at some point, dressing like a guy. So my
Hmm.
mom said, picking, said, no, there are certain things I'm not going to allow you to be putting on. That's why those who are close to me, I don't wear trousers. Even when I wear just like maybe to stay in the house or something. Tight dresses, I don't wear. I used to wear baggy. Everything I have to put on must be big. And like, how would they know that you're a girl, please?
Hmm.
So at some point, she's taking my wardrobe by herself, my
Hmm.
clothes and everything. She said, "I when you wear
Wow.
something, she'll tell me I have to come and show her. She has to see it. Even if I'm packing to go somewhere, she will open my bag and check. So
Hmm.
it's at some point I felt like, why is this woman always putting her head
How
in
old were you at this
this?"
time? How old were you at this time? How old were
I
you at
was
this?
in at that point I was in the feeling of being a guy started in school,
Hmm.
because I those times I know I know said anybody. I used to walk out amongst guys. I was kind of, because when I entered secondary school I was 10. So around, let's just say within 8, 9, I started
Hmm.
feeling it's not even got worse when I entered secondary school. That was like 10. That's
Hmm.
2010. I secondary school, it became as if it was just getting worse by the day. And at that point, it was, I think that was in my jest. I looked at myself and said, no, you want to live a life of Christ. I don't think this is the path. Because most times, each time I sit, I reflect. Most times, where I'm this kind of person that when words are said to me, it it's replaced in my head most times.
And I
And yes, then I sit, I reflect. I'm like, how is this going to help me in any way? How is build me? How is this going to? Because I believe in giving value. I believe in showing value. I believe in offering value. So I looked at these things. I asked myself, and Lord, you have to help me. And the Lord was merciful enough. I would say I started building a relationship with God right from my secondary school. That was when I
so,
started having a personal
was it because of
relationship.
this whole thing that you started,
Yes, it was.
exploring? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, where that part in the scripture where Peter, was it Peter or about, said, count it all joy when you go through certain afflictions just
Yeah.
for God's sake. It's because I've come to realize that when we go through things, when we go through hard times, when we go through difficulties, is like we tend to draw closer. If you notice, is when something bad happens to somebody, you remember, oh, Father Lord,
Exactly.
Father Lord. But
Yeah.
when things are going smoothly, you just be like, it's
Not
something I
good.
worked for it, so I should enjoy it. But when it's going bad, you remember that, Father, I'm sorry, oh, that I've been far. That is when you remember that your Bible exists.
Yeah.
You remember that you can
And
have
you're
actually a
not take
devotion
with you. Yeah.
time for God. And I just looked at that period and I found myself like, this is the point where if
Mm.
there's anybody can help me right now, it's only God. Because I told myself that how can I go and meet my mother and be telling her that I'm attracted to a girl?
God forbid
She's
bad thing. Now,
and
the whole thing.
because from the
Mm.
my
Mm.
mother alone, just looking at her,
Mm.
it
Mm.
brought fear in me. And I just told myself, the only person you can talk to right now is God.
Mm.
The only person that can help you right now is God. At that point, I had to start building a relationship. Before, I don't wake at night to pray.
Mm.
But at some point, I started joining, in school, then we have schools, there is this students' fellowship and all that. I had to just pray my join, and even if it's just sitting down and just listening, even if I'm not part of anything, let me just be there, because
Mm.
safety in the
Right.
presence of God's people, there is
Yeah.
just safety. So I just found myself having to draw closer. Then it was as if God drew closer to me too. It's like
Mm.
that point where at some point I'm like, okay, it was in SS1, a lot changed because I had to change school. I was an only girls' school, and that was why I said it both was when I entered secondary school, because having that primary school, then you now entered an only girls' school from my J1 to my JS3. So the effects will be times 10.
God. Yeah.
It will get worse because you're now seeing females daily. So how do
Yeah.
you want to do it? How do you overcome it? Because it's like, this is like this is what you're avoiding, but it's like the devil just presented it to you on a platter of gold and told you, okay, let's see what you will. And I look back and like, Lord, I will escape this. I don't know how, but I'm going to escape this. And so I had to start withdrawing myself from. So because I really had a lot of female friends, so I withdrew myself from people who were trying to draw closer. Just withdrew myself from a lot of people. Anytime they find me, I'm always by myself or doing things. If I'm reading by myself, nothing except maybe at that point they now made me class captain, so I had to, no matter what, I still have to relate with people. But for me, so,
Mm.
and it was when I entered change school in my SS1, that feeling. I changed school. I changed to a mixed school where we had boys and girls. So at that point, and I told myself, am I attracted to both boys and girls? I said no, no, no. So the Lord, it was that where the Lord, it was, I would say that was where I had an encounter with it in my SS1.
Mm.
First changing school and all that. And when I changed, I just felt my parents, the sacrifices they made in place of when we were very much young. I felt that was what was keeping me
Keeping
in
you and
school.
even preserving you through this feed.
Yeah, because they say words are very, very powerful. Even for the Bible to record that the tongue is like fire. So
Yeah.
when you
It's
utter
also
words, it's like you're with fire. So it helped build me a lot.
mm.
I felt those prayers were what was playing in my life in school. Then the Lord did something to me at 12. The thing didn't start when I first started. It was midterm of the school, I noticed that once it's 12 on the dot, it's boarding house because I stayed throughout in boarding. I noticed that once it's 12, I'm awake, and I was wondering why. I'll just be awake till 5 when people are preparing for school. Then when
Hmm.
I get to class, I'll not start
12 a.m.
sleeping till 5
Wow.
a.m. Start
Wow.
sleeping. But I won't sleep during lectures. It's like maybe during our break time, I'll need to sleep. So,
Hmm.
but I noticed, so I told myself, if the thing now started becoming constant till I left secondary school, till I left, it started in my SS1 till I left my SS3. When I That's 12 to 5. I was like, why will I be awake the whole night? And those times is light out. In boarding house, there's a room, light out. So I had to buy a torch. I told myself, I have to be this productive. And I've always gone with that mindset that you have to be productive no matter what. Whatever, I see opportunity in everything. That is
Yeah.
one thing the Lord gave me is there are certain things that people see and they're like, this is the waste of my time. I just tend how to see opportunity in that
Hmm.
thing. And it built me because at that point, I now built an altar, build a personal altar. I built it as an altar where I meet with the Lord, where, okay, use this period, you can pray at least even if it's 30 minutes, 10 minutes, just say what's on prayer. And then for the remaining hours, I read till daybreak.
Okay,
Then
so
maybe
hold
go
on.
and, yeah.
You were how many years this time?
That was my SS1. I was around within 14. Yes, I was 14 because I graduated at the age of 16.
Okay, so you were
I was 14.
14
Yeah,
and you just discovered that by 12 a.m. you are awake till 5 a.m.
finally.
and
Yeah.
and you just figured that you could use this to pray and then to read. Now I'm going to take us back a bit. There are a
Mm-hmm.
thousand and one things you can do when you are awake in the night, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When the Bible talks about the sower going out to sow, the
So,
thief,
yeah.
sorry, when the devil was to plant the tares, they always planted it the night when
Yeah.
everybody has. So people
Went
that
to
do
bed.
bad things do actually do it in the night. And for some reason, you just knew at this time, like this now, I'm going to use and do something good. Now, that is on one part because the thought of, hey, you have these feelings, you have these urges, you can explore. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying something that is not existent. I went to a boarding house, and at some point, it was an all girls school. At some point, we had rumors some girls were making out with other girls.
Yeah. So
So when does it happen? Of course, it happens in the nights. So
it happened there.
it happens in the night. So, but for some reason, you chose to use it to read. Now we're still going to get to that. Now, I just wanted us to
Mm-hmm.
like talk about the struggle you went through. Now, it was a very innocent thing, like you're a girl surrounded by guys, which is a good thing. You're pampered, you're
Yeah.
protected, you feel like you're on top of the world, and then it is now translating into something like this. And you had to struggle with it for so many years. And
Yeah.
you were thankfully you were surrounded by mom that had seen eyes, a praying dad, you were surrounded with people that kept telling me that you are a girl. Now, when you were talking earlier, you said this is how LGBTQ they start. Like these
That's
are some of the things that we take for granted. At that point where
mm-hmm.
you felt that I'm a boy who does I'm trapped in a girl's
In a
body.
body.
That's the story we keep hearing. And many times we feel like the thing is far. We feel like it's not amongst us Christian folks. We feel like, this child is hearing the word of God. And how would somebody even imagine that for you, the factor was that you were surrounded by boys? That was the only factor. You didn't need to do any extra anything. Just that you have, boys around you. That's it. Now, these are things that I feel like, yeah, I don't think your parents would have seen it as an issue. Oh, she has brothers. That's not it's not a
Yeah.
problem to have all boys, right? It's not a problem. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The whole innocence of the whole
Yeah.
situation, and then the devil just tries to, come in.
Mhm.
So I think I just thought we should just, talk a bit more about this area because I feel there
Mhm.
are so many people that might be struggling with something like this. We're still going to go to the part where you took time to pray and you were all
Yeah.
grown up. At 14, you knew you had to pray in the night. Come on, okay, maybe from seeing that you pray, you knew you had to pray in the night. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But I just want us to talk a bit about this. What would you say to someone that is struggling with feelings like this. You feel like, okay, I'm a guy, but I feel like um, I'm a guy in a lady's body, or I'm a lady in a guy's body. As in, like, what would you say to them, like, in that at that point, and how are you able to walk through that phase of your life?
First of all, for me, it's the change has to begin with you. If
Mm,
it's like you don't want to see something in your life, you have
mm,
to make that choice. You have to make that decision that I want to stop. I'm not saying that when you say it, your body is still feeling it. At that point,
yes.
it's like that is when the urge is even much more great.
Mm,
But you have to, because it's like what inside in your heart. That's why the Bible talked about said the Lord sees the heart. There's an
yeah.
emphasis on what is within. You will see it as this is an external stuff, but this is beyond external stuff. It is deep within because the Bible said is what is inside pollutes the outside. It is not what goes in, but it's what is
Yeah.
already inside that
Inside
pollutes a man.
yeah.
So I told myself that I will never live this kind of life. God forbid.
Mm,
Even though I felt it and the urge was very strong. I would like even how I came out of it is I'm still grateful to God today. It's
mm,
a decision I first of all made in my mind. Lord, I have to come out of this. I don't know how, but I have to come out. Even though I was scared to talk to my mom about it, this is not safe to bring to them
you
because how do
ever
you want to
talk
break it
to
out?
somebody about it? Did
Even
you
my
talk to
dad, that I didn't talk
mm,
to them. I couldn't even bring it to their face. But my brothers knew
mm,
because the way I was so close to them and my brothers tend to be they will just look at me and be like, Madam, don't go try your mother will just kill you. Because they were the only ones, they were like my brothers were my best friends. We could tell
yeah.
ourselves anything. Even
Mm,
now, as we are all
mm,
grown up, we tell ourselves things that even if we can't tell our parents, we don't even know how to break it to them. We talk to ourselves.
mm,
We just know
yeah.
how to. So, and another thing is when you make that decision, have somebody you can actually rely on and
Mm,
look for somebody that won't judge you. Because me, when I look at people I need to ask advice for, I don't look for people who will judge me. I need you to advise me. That was why I came to you. I didn't come to meet you
mm.
to judge me because I'd already judged myself before coming to meet you.
Exactly. That was why you came
So
to talk.
that's why
Yeah.
I came to meet you. So don't come and rub your face. I've already rubbed it on my face. I've looked at it. I'm like, so that is because I wanted that change. That was why I came to you.
Mm,
And look for somebody you can confide in. Not when you tell the person, maybe the person being to use it against you, or
mm.
you begin
Yeah.
then maybe the person uses conversation outside, which is not
Yeah.
right. Because it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, you've just killed me. That's what you've just done. So
Yeah.
I look for people who actually confide in, who I can relay this thing to, and who are matured spiritually to
Mm,
help you.
mm.
Very matured spiritually, because not everybody that is matured physically is matured spiritually. Keyword.
That's true. Yeah.
So
Very true.
it's helped me a lot, even though I couldn't find was this kind of person that I'm an introvert. I really don't talk to. Is now that I'm really outspoken. I don't talk to people. If something is hurting me, I swallow it. I just tend to avoid the situation till it's over. But I found that that was not the best way to to heal or get over things, because the enemy will keep feasting on as long as it's inside. So I
Yeah.
had to find a way to, fought. I brought it forth before the Lord constantly.
Hmm.
If jokingly, I just bring it up among as a conversation amongst friends, so that we'll just laugh over it and use that to they will say, but
Hmm.
I won't tell them it's me. So,
You.
but at
Hmm.
that point, it helped me because the more outspoken I was, the more I got healed. So
You.
it's helped me a lot. Yes.
Hmm.
So that
Wow.
was like, first of all, you have to make it as a decision. Then
Yeah.
secondly, for somebody who is matured enough, who can help you, who you can confide, talk to, because you know what the devil doesn't like is when, that is why when we come before the Lord, he said the accuser of the brethren, they call him accuser of the brethren for him. But
Yeah.
whereby you are always outspoken with these things, and he sees you fight it, he knows you are not in to take rubbish from him, he withdraws. Those
Yeah.
things you just see it naturally on its own die off. Like at some point, the thing just, when I look back, I'm like, so I was actually like this. The thing just naturally dies off. Then what I said doing was I was just get close to how my progress was, how I was progressing. If there was really or it's just like maybe it's just there and dormant. So I
Yeah.
tried getting closer to a lot of female friends, and I found that it had just gone.
Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
it helped.
Yeah.
It helped.
So I just want to like point out, you said number one is that you made the decision that this
Yeah.
thing, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want to live this life. So I think that part is very important. Because I heard the story of there's this video that went viral where a woman was complaining that her child, that's abroad, that her child believes he's a cat. And then she took her child to the vet, and the vet refused to administer him the treatment for a cat. And she was like,
Hmm.
she would have sued him. And I was like, who is sick here? Is it the child or the mother? Because if your child says he's a cat and you as the parent agrees, then I don't think the child has the problem. I think it's the mother that has the problem.
Yeah.
Because you are the older person, you should know better, right? So I think that's part where we all stand up and we all stand up and we enforce what we know is right.
Yeah.
Your mom
Yeah.
drumming it into your ears and telling you, Chinaza, you are a girl. Your dad
Yeah.
saying, Chinaza, you're a girl. Your brother's telling you, babe, no try that thing. No even try it. You just
Really?
know somehow that this is the path to go. And
Yeah.
they've drummed it enough into your head. As they're drumming it,
Yeah.
when people say things to you, sometimes it might not resonate at that time when you are quiet.
Uh,
You start chewing the cord. You start chewing the cord.
yeah.
Chewing the cord. So that
Really.
now over time it now sinks in, and then you now make that decision that I
Yeah.
don't want parts. Now, I always say it. I know that it's not easy, just like you rightly said. I know it's not easy,
Yeah.
but it's something that is doable, and it's something that once the person understands that not who I am. This is not
Um,
how God made me. God couldn't have made a mistake in creating me like this.
yeah.
Whatever is happening to me is as a result of I've been so much around guys and it has affected my.
Yes.
This is the situation for other people. It might be something else. Like for me, I've become so careful that I don't even allow my boys to put on wig. Is that when I said remove it, because you don't even know what it is, what the triggers are. So,
Actually.
finding out what those triggers are, I think
Yeah.
for parents and also, looking out for those things so that that child doesn't
Yeah.
find himself. in that place where the child is
Hmm.
struggling. And then for someone struggling, would have to make that decision and say, I don't want to live this life. Yes,
Hmm.
this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm experiencing, but I don't want to live this life. So that decision, the discipline, and then you now talk to someone that you can
For
confide
someone.
in, don't take it against you, somebody that's, guide, someone that'll tell you the truth, not a parent that'll say, oh, you think you're a cat? Oh, that's fine. You're entitled to think
Fine.
whatever
Yeah.
you want. You don't talk to somebody that would massage your ego. You tell
That's,
somebody that would tell you the truth, even if it hurts. Someone that
yeah.
will look you in the eyes and tell you, "Hey, Chinaza, Chisom, you no, 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 you're
Children.
not." Talk to someone, and then you said, okay, after you talk to the person, the next part is to pray
Person.
about. Now, you also
Hmm.
said that when you pray, it doesn't just go away. It persistence, because I remember you mentioned when you were in primary school, then you now
Hmm.
mentioned when you were in secondary school. So you're
Secondary.
talking 4, 5 years at least, minimum 4, 5 years,
Yeah.
having to deal with this, right? And
Yes.
you continued praying about it. Someone could
But
just pray and say, "Oh, I prayed. God the answer. Maybe I prayed now. Maybe I talked now. Maybe I did
maybe I
what
don't.
working. I talked. I talked to someone. It's not working. Is it working? It's not working. This one
No. Consistency. Yeah.
consistency. You
Keyword.
know, keep at it and keep saying no, no, this is not the pattern. Here you are. You can share that experience, and
Yeah.
for me, it's warming. It's warming to hear a young lady like you speak up about it and say, hey, this thing is real and this thing is amongst us, this thing is everywhere. A lot of people are going through it and their parents might not even know. Now, I just want to ask
No.
you, honestly, now that you have a good rapport with your mom, you guys are now best friends, and now you are grown up. Do you think if you had told your dad and your mom, they would have killed you?
Eh? Hmm. Even I remember Jay were just having this kind of discussion, and this was something recent. This year. It was this year. So
Mm,
we're just like going back through memory lane, my brothers and my parents, and my dad was saying something. You know that I said, sir, the generation is moving. No, it's no longer that your time. Then I mentioned it that you see that LGBT
mm,
have experienced. My mother just looked at me. She was sitting down. She looked at me. At that point, because when I was talking, I was consciously looking at her to see
yeah,
the
yeah, the
the
reaction.
expression, to know
Mm,
what. Then I just saw the expression on her face. She was just looking at me. I just told her that see, forget though, it's not foul that me have gone through because growing
mm,
up amongst them, that was even when my brother was there. So himself was also concurring to what I was saying because they already knew, and this is
you,
something that even naturally they knew because the world is
mm,
revolving, times are changing, and this is something they see because when you go out there,
yeah,
you see things.
it's
And
everywhere.
so
It's
they
everywhere.
were like, that this is something my dad didn't even say a word. He just sat where he was. My mom was looking at me. Say, "Eh."
Mm.
So like
So,
that expression, I said, that means if I told the years back, they would do practice on top of my head.
Pastor prayer would have worked, but at least you wouldn't be
Practice
there.
on prayer would
Right?
have worked, but they would have also restricted my access. Like, you won't have around. They won't even allow you to stay amongst people anymore. So because
Yeah, would you advise a child to talk to their parents?
yeah, for me, I would have still advised you talk to them
Yeah,
because I feel they would have also still helped in a
yeah.
way because as far as you were the one that came to them to tell them
Mm,
that, oh, see, oh, this
that's
is the
it.
way I'm
Yeah.
feeling. They didn't get you, they didn't catch you like in the act. You
Mm,
came by yourself because for you coming to them, they feel that, oh, that means they create a safe space. Because I feel when a
yeah.
child meets a parent, you've created a safe space for them to approach you. That no
Mm,
matter how odd, no matter how unusual, no matter how abnormal the situation might be, I can tell you
oh,
anything.
mm,
And
mm.
when I look back at then and I look back that I'm even closer to my because then I wasn't close to her because of that. And not just me, it was place we once you hear my mother is around, everybody flees. You don't run.
One.
So it's when I look
Uh,
back then and now that I can actually tell her anything
mm,
because there was a time one of my neighbors was trying to. This is a man, a married man, and I just graduated from secondary school. I was still waiting for. He was meeting me at unusual place. I told my mom about it. So I was waiting for her and see what she told me. She planted a trap for the man. So it was like we
wow.
planned it
That's
together.
good.
And so
Wow.
that was what encouraged me and told me that. So that means even if I had told her back then, yes, she
Yeah.
might have reacted in a way that I might feel to me it's harsh and all that, but it
Mm,
was for my
for
safety.
you. Yeah.
Which if when I tell her today and I'm like, God, thank you that even in the midst of it, I didn't lose track of
Oh,
where I'm coming from. Because even when I entered the university, there's something I know. Anytime I pray, I kneel down to pray. I always pray one prayer. I said, Father, don't help me never to forget where I'm coming from or who
mm,
I'm representing. These two
mm,
prayer words, I repeat it every time I was in the uni, and each time I misbehave, that word is like the Holy Spirit just, Madam, let me you talk this thing. Remember, you said this. So,
yeah.
and it helps me. It started building me much more. Instead of growing weaker, I'm stronger in the spirit that
Mm,
even times that prayer that my parents have prayed, they might have just prayed it, but they know that the effect is what we are reaping today. And that
yeah.
gives people, I'm grateful that I had a praying father who
Yeah.
stood in the gap. Because even my mom, sometimes when she talks like that, we are grateful that we have a man who stands in for his family. He's
Family.
anytime he's always praying. And
Yeah.
it built me, trust me, built my brothers. Because I was like, well, I told my brother, you just say we're not going to leave church. He said, my dear, there's nothing out there.
I'm glad
Just
you
jokingly. He just told me, there's nothing out there because I believe in, I'm a Christian, practical, more my my practicality should express it that even most times when I don't speak, it is seen out there. And
mm,
that is just what has helped and built me over time. And just thank
yeah.
God.
Yeah. So Chinaza, our time is fast spent, and
Yeah.
you and I know that we have plenty gist, but unfortunately, we might not be able to take all the
No
questions.
problem.
When we had the initial conversation, we went over
Yes.
so many things. We have Onyeka Emenike here with us. We have Champagne.
My
We have
brother.
I could tell from the name. Hi Onyeka. Hi baby Champagne. That name is kind of fly. Belua. Hi. Yeah, good to have you guys around, and I hope you're enjoying the conversation. So yeah, Chinaza, we were not able to talk about so many things, but I think
Yeah.
this particular matter we talked about is very punchy. Even if that's all we talk about today, I think it's a lot
Yeah.
because
It's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot because in your own case, I keep stressing the part of the innocence of the situation. You are
Yeah.
an only girl in the midst of how many boys, and that is not supposed to be an issue. And you're not the first, neither will you be the last. So, the devil is so
Yes.
subtle and, coming in. Yeah, and so there are so
Yeah.
many things there, things to learn from the parents, there are things to learn from the children, there are things to learn for everybody because I'm just looking now, okay, if I'm a mother that has three boys, or how many boys and one girl, or the other way around, or more, my IQ be going like this, like this. What am I looking out for? I'll start thinking about pep talk I'm going to start having with my kids because that's why, yeah, that's why we're having this conversation so that we can learn from people's experiences, so that we can become better and so that we can grow. Because you were talking the other day, you mentioned something. You said we don't, whatever experiences we go through, we are going through for other people. So yes,
People,
we
yeah.
go through these experiences and then other people can learn from them. So I think this whole LGBTQ thing, the devil has just, is just pushing it, and
Mhm.
there are spirits out there that are trying to, get into people and tell them, see, you feel this way, then
Yeah.
it's correct. No, you feel this way, then it's correct. So but
So
from
we
what you're saying, the Lord was able to help you through that part, and having
think about
praying parents that
it.
had cameras everywhere. That's how my children would say it. Had cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Happening every time. Yeah. So I think that's another
Yeah.
thing for parents to take home from our conversation today. Keep praying for your children, regardless of what, because they might not tell you what they are going through, but the fact that you're
Go
always,
through. Yeah.
it keeps them in check until that point where they can actually, they've dealt with it and they feel
Yeah.
comfortable to share. And also the part where you mentioned that, sorry, I forgot my line of thought. The part where you mentioned that you looking back, you feel like if you had told Momsy that, Kai, when you said that, you told Momsy about that gist, and then did, did a plan, like you guys set a trap. And then your mom is a cool mom, like seriously, my dad is also a disciplinarian. That kind of military style disciplinarian. I'm just imagining like I don't picture my papa this kind thing. No more, they go just kill me. Just come and carry me. Just come and carry my dead body. But
Yeah.
looking back and you're like, oh, you told your mom this and then she could relate. So it means that mommy is not as harsh as we think she is. So that,
Yes.
even for parents that you think that are really harsh, they might be cool
Really.
actually. They might have their
Yes.
that thing in them because last they all care about parents all care about their
Yeah.
children. So again,
Mhm.
please, if you're going through something like this, try to talk to someone if you feel like more
Mhm.
from previous experience, because I know that there are still parents that wants to say, mommy, a brother looked at me. As you are saying it, slap is landing on your face. So that tells you
Yes.
that
Yeah.
like usually
Insecurity.
it never happen. That if you have a
Can't.
parent that, as Naza you rightly said, find someone else that you feel you can trust, someone you feel that
Trust.
you can confide. I have a friend and a sister that told me her experience. I know that it's going to detour us a bit, but I think it will be important to share. She has
Mm.
shared it in um, one of the videos, one of my videos earlier. She shared that experience where she used to have very painful menstruation, and a friend told her that if you sleep with a guy and you're no longer a virgin, then the pain will stop. And she believed. Yeah, she believed. She was so naive. And then she went to a particular guy that used to help her. She was in secondary school. They used to help her with one subject. So while they were in the class, I think the boy was older. He was helping her with lesson. Then while they were in the lesson, because she knew that the semester was going to come out like in 2 days' time. She was like, no,
Mm.
I'm done with this pain. Then she all of a sudden just started crying and she broke down. I was like, what is it? And she held the guy and she was like, do it, do it. And the guy was like, do what? The guy he's like, do what? He's like, do it, do it. The guy was like, what are you talking about? He said,
I'm
and
talking
they told her
about.
that the guy did not make any advances to her. Oh. She just, this is the only guy that she feels she can talk to.
Mhm.
And she told the guy what, the lady told her. The guy said, no, that's not true. And he knows for a fact that his sister is no longer a virgin, but she still has menstrual cramps.
Not
And
sure.
whoever told her this is a lie. And that was how this young man, because he was not a predator, he knew the truth and he protected my friend in her naivety. Because if the guy
Mm.
he prey, like sorry, if he was a predator rather, he would have taking advantage of her and all. I will be like,
Of
yes,
the
oh, I'm
situation.
actually
Yeah.
free. Let me just do it. And because they were in the house and the stage was set, when they say curtains, light on, everything. So, the girl had calculated everything and she thought,
Oh.
but looking back, she was sharing and she's so thankful that, the guy was able to put his foot on the ground and say no. that is not the right thing to do.
Right.
And that was a mistake. So, finding that person that you can talk to. Like the Chinaza, that was another thing you said. You said you would show it amongst your friends to know their reaction, and then you know what they would say, and then without telling them that you're the one, something like that.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure, you could show it out and then get to know the person's reaction and then see if it's something you want to go ahead with. So I think this is a lot we've talked about, and listeners, we're actually going to call it a wrap, but I can bet you that I'll be bringing you on the program sometime soon. If you don't mind, because we
I
still have so
don't
many
mind.
things to talk about. That fight in the school. We are still going to continue. that very that very
That's
special fight.
that one.
Yeah, yeah. You're still going to gist us about that fight. Your experience in secondary school. Your own story is unique because for some people, tough times is in uni, but for you, it was in secondary school. So I
So,
think it will be nice to have you again, share
no
all those
problem.
stories. So I think we are actually coming to the end of today's episode. I'm just
Thank
going to like give you
you.
5 seconds, 10 seconds to like give us a parting word. What would you say to someone that joined us today that knows someone that is going through something like this, or is struggling with something like this, or has a child that is, had a similar situation? What would you say to the person?
Okay. Me, for someone who is struggling with this, learn to speak out and
Mm,
also learn to of the Lord because it will go. I always tell myself, build
mm,
a relationship with God.
mm,
That is the first key thing you should have. And then if your parents are not approachable, I have a mentor.
mm.
Look for somebody who can mentor you, not just in the physical aspect, but also spiritual aspect. Look for a
Yeah.
mentor. Very key.
Okay.
So, and as for parents who have kids going through this, is try to create a safe space for them to
Mm,
be able to approach and help them. Don't leave them to struggle on this alone.
mm.
If they are going to fight this, they need a backup. They need standing ground. Even the Bible said two are better than one, but
Yeah.
is even much more. The bond is stronger. So please try to help them both in praying and also physical counsel. It goes a long way. It's due to this ignorance, a lot of things have gone wrong in the body.
Yeah.
So, but with this, is going to build and not destroy. So,
Yeah.
this is my advice.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Get a mentor, get someone to walk you through this. Parents create a safe space for the children. And again, this is in is everywhere. It's not just outside, even in the body. You get so let's have that mindset that you never can tell what the person near you is dealing with. So let your eyes be on the ground and not just feel like, oh, this person can be dealing with it. Let our eyes be on the ground. That way, we'll be able to pick if something is off. Just like your mom was able to pick if something is not right. Okay. Yeah, I think on that note, we have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you again for,
Thank
first of all,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you first for understanding that you didn't go through this phase of your life for yourself. Thank you for standing through it, regardless of how long. Thank you for, winning this battle and letting us know that it's possible to go through it and conquer it. It's actually possible and not fall
Possible.
prey to the enemy. Yes, your experience has told us that it's possible, and your experience also told us that it's not an alien thing. It's around us. It's just it's within us exactly. Thank you again for
Thank you.
obliging to
Thank you.
get today's program and for sharing. It's a lot to actually come up with. Being able to share experiences like this, yeah, that are really personal. Thank you for sharing, and I really trust God that He blessed the lives of so many people. Thank you again.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. And bless you too. Thank
Amen.
you for having the show.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, dear. And thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for joining our guest. Please let us know if you have any questions. And again, as soon as I mentioned, if you need a mentor, you need to talk to someone, you could reach out to us. You don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to put your concerns. Just say, send us a DM or something, and then we'll reach out. We might not be the ones who do the council. There are so many people that we could, connect it to,
Yeah.
and then to, yeah. And if you have any questions, you could share. And also, if you've gone through something like that and you think, okay, there is a particular aspect we didn't mention, please put it up on the comment section, and we trust that someone else will be blessed by it as well. Again, thank you so
Yeah.
much for watching. And at the
Thank
same
you.
time, next week on Saturday, 8 p.m. every Saturday. God bless you. Take care.
Good night. You too. Good night. Thank
Every
you.
night, really nice rest.
Yeah.
That's
You
bye.
too. Bye.